Hello there, my name is Les Ross. I'm the Director of Golf for the online golf school, HighlanderSchoolOfGolf.com. I've also written a golf e-book called Breaking the Distance Barrier. I wrote that book several years ago, and it's all about the physics and the mechanics of different techniques of the golf swing. And during this video I want to cover one of those techniques that I have in the book that I'm sure you've heard about, and that's the delayed hand release or hand lag on the downswing. Now, I'm sure you've heard golf commentators and read articles about how effective hand lag is in increasing distance. But do you know why that's the case? Well, I'm going to fall back on a little bit of physics to explain just what is actually happening to the swing when you generate or use this technique of hand lag. But before I go there, I just want to paint a picture of what's actually happening during that motion, but in a totally different sport, and that's ice skating. I'm sure you've watched ice skaters either on TV during the Olympics or international skating where they just do this turn, the pirouette, and that's these amazing spins that the ice skater does in one point on the ice. Now, do you happen to notice what they do to actually increase the acceleration of the spin or speed up the spin, and then what they do to actually slow down the spin? Well, to increase the spin rate, essentially the skater makes their body as tight as possible, and then to slow down the spin they open up their arms or they extend a leg. Now, what they're actually doing from a physics point of view is actually adjusting the moment of inertia of the spin. In order to accelerate the spin, they're reducing the moment of inertia of the spin. To decelerate the spin, they're increasing their moment of inertia. Moment of inertia, just for those of you interested in the equation, is given by moment of inertia is equal to the mass of the body that's turning multiplied the radius squared that the mass is turning around that point. So from the skater's point of view, there's not much they can do about their mass because that's fixed by their weight. But they can alter their moment of inertia by changing the radius of which they're rotating. So in order to increase the acceleration, the skater makes their body as tight as possible, and what they're essentially doing is reducing the radius of rotation, and that allows the spin to accelerate. And then when they want to decelerate the spin or increase their moment of inertia, they open up their arms, and essentially what they're doing is increasing the radius of rotation of the spin, and that slows the spin rate down. Now in the golf swing, there's a similar movement taking place, but instead of doing these multiple turns like the skater is doing, the golfer is actually just trying to achieve maximum acceleration of the downswing all in one turn. So in order to do that, the golfer has to reduce their moment of inertia. So again, we look at that equation. Moment of inertia is mass times the radius squared. Like the skater, there's not much the golfer can do about their mass, because that's given by the weight of their trunk, their arms, and also the weight of their equipment. But they can change the radius of rotation of their downswing. And they do that by making that radius of rotation as tight as possible. So it's just like the skater. They're trying to make their body as compact as possible. The golfer has to do the same thing. And the way they do that is essentially by cocking their wrists. The radius of rotation of the swing is given by a distance from the center of your chest up to the club head. So if you're just looking at this position, the radius of rotation is from here up to the club head. So the tighter you make your wrists or cock your wrist angle, in other words more lag, the smaller you make that radius of rotation. And in doing so, your moment of inertia of the downswing decreases, allowing you to accelerate the downswing as fast as possible to optimize your club head swing speed. So in order to increase distance, essentially you want to cock your hands or lag your hands for as long as possible on the downswing to allow the torque that you've built up in the backswing to accelerate accelerate the downswing. And you see this with women golfers on the LPGA who don't weigh very much. They're essentially just 130 pounds, but yet they generate these tremendous drives of over 270 yards. And they do that because of the flexibility in their hands. They're able to get this amazing hand line in there and accelerate their swing. Now, what I see with high handicap golfers is the mistake of the early hand release, or here it's termed as casting of the swing. And that's when they get to the top of the swing and essentially they do this. They open up, they allow the hands to release early. So you can see what's happening to the radius of rotation of the swing right now. It's increased considerably. You go back to that equation, moment of inertia is mass times radius squared. For every increase in radius, you're actually increasing the moment of inertia by the square amount. So what that does then, as the term implies, it makes it much more difficult to actually accelerate the swing. It requires more torque to get the same amount of club head swing speed at impact. So, it's no wonder that you see high handicappers struggle on the downswing when they release the hands early, because they're trying to overcome an enormous amount of inertia or moment of inertia with the swing. So anyway, I hope that helps you understand that technique and why it's not a secret. It can be explained by physics. If you'd like to find out more physics and mechanics about other techniques in the golf swing, then I invite you to obtain a copy of the book. It's full of other techniques in the golf swing that can be explained through just simple laws of motion.